Everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Christy here doing the extended monthly forecast. This is for June 2018 for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I hope that you enjoyed May's monthly extended forecast for you and that this is equally as helpful and healing. So this is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising for the month of June 2018. I'm going to be doing an 8-card spread today. It is regarding secrets revealed. So I'm going to be looking at the first row for you, which will be things that you're probably already aware of or you needed confirmation about. And then the second row is going to look at things that you need to become aware of or that you could use to your advantage. So what does Virgo need to know about secrets revealed for June 2018? Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. This is a general reading as well, so whatever is most prominent in your life, please apply the messages to, and I hope that you find them helpful and healing. Messages for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Messages for Virgo. Messages for Virgo to June. Messages for Virgo, June 2018. Here we go. You know what? That really needs to cut there. And I can't really say why, except for it just needed to cut there. Bottom of the deck for you, look at that, the Ace of Cups. So I'm not going to go too deeply into this, but this is considered general energy for the month for you. The Ace of Cups is really just all about an emotional opportunity, a loving, beautiful, sweet, probably innocent, loving energy that is available for you. This is the source of loving energy. It's the source of compassion here. So this is just beautiful to have at the bottom of the deck for you. I do feel strongly this is the type of energy that you can be surrounded by this month, or if you feel out of sorts or you feel that things aren't going in the direction that you need them to, or that things are more difficult than usual, I think that it might be helpful to recall the energy of the Ace of Cups here. Recall that you are loved and you do have a lot of love to give and that you deserve true love, you know, the real deal. And remember that source. Another version of this is the cup is overflowing, right? It's overflowing with emotional energy, emotional wellness, that type of thing. So just beautiful to see at the bottom of the deck for you. A little snapshot of what's going on here. Top row, as I mentioned, is going to be things that you're probably already aware of. Bottom row, we're looking at a lot of air for you. There's something going on in the mind. You're looking for something to come to an end here. I'm going to suggest that the bottom row is going to speak necessarily to something that you, I mean, it's the hidden, right? It's the hidden row. It's what's going on beneath the scenes or under the surface. So whether this is you or someone in your environment that you're dealing with, this is energy that is occurring. So if this is happening with you and you find that you're in your head a lot and you really need to communicate, you really need to get to the bottom of something, probably with a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Unless this is Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini energy in your own chart, in your moon or rising. If that's the case, this will strictly have to do with you. But as your only court card, I'm going to suggest that this is another individual. If it isn't, just because we do have an Aquarius energy here, You know, the Hangman here, you do have two major arcanas, the Aquarius ruled star. This could just be strictly about, less about an individual than it is about a concept or a conveyance. And the conveyance in this regard, which is what you need to get off your chest or you need to hear from someone else, which is a very exacting communication. Again, I'm going to draw your attention to the Ace of Cups because it's the only cup. Sorry, you do have Nine of Cups here. It's the cup that I think is really going to help you create some balance around how to communicate here or why you would be having this communication. It's probably having something to do with your emotions or having to do with around your feelings or emotions, around the heart. But something needs to be cleared up. And this can be considered exacting or even cutting energy. So it would be really wise, for example, if you're communicating with someone else or they're communicating with you, to, balance those two energies. Like you can really be clear. You can really say what's on your mind. You can really get to your point. You can, offer evidence. You can offer statistics. You can offer objective reasoning here, while remembering that they're to do it in a loving way, or to remember to do it, I'm not trying to hurt you, or I'm not trying to get hurt here. I really want this to be managed in a loving way, or, with emotional intelligence here, while telling the truth. So that's what I'm seeing here. The bottom row just really stood out. This is really a lot of you living in the mind or someone else living in the mind and having a difficult time telling you. But because it is Virgo's reading, I'm going to suggest that this is something that's going on beneath your scene, okay? Beneath, in your hidden realm, in your mind, for example. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel here. There is something, the world awaits. So there is a new beginning here. There is a move that you can make here. It just has to, it's a 2. So it's going to feel very small. It's going to feel like a small or even a brief advancement. But listen, every little step forward is that much closer rather to your goal or to the outcome you do choose. I am just going to pay attention quickly to the top row. I really think you're doing well. There's a lot of gorgeous energy here. Everything on the surface looks like there's a little bit of a hold up, right? A little bit of a hold up. We do have a 12. Energetically, that's a 3. It could be some, sensual energy here where it's just like it's being withheld or held up, or there's an indecision. There is a perspective that needs to be made here or challenged. It does sit right on top of the, the Knight of Swords. So it's almost like this indecision or challenging situation or new perspective has to do with the language or the communication with this Knight. It's youthful energy. It doesn't have to be someone younger than you, but Knights are always youthful energy, not childlike, not like a page, but more like a fast moving, like an excitable sort of like yeah, like when I say young person, I just mean someone like in their 20s, like someone who's, under 30. So again, it could be someone in their 60s, for heaven's sakes, who's, really young at heart, and they have a lot of energy, and they're really known for being outspoken. And it's almost like now, no matter how old they get, they'll always be this type of personality. So that's what I'm looking at there. A lot of challenging themes in your mind here. Let's get to that in a second. I said I was at the top row. I'm just intrigued by this. So challenging situation, new perspective is desired, or you're seeking this, or you need this, or they need to be challenged by you if someone else is being held up in your environment. You do have an Aquarian in your environment, or Aquarius energy. We have 11th house energy, which is ruled by Aquarius, and that's friendships, groups of people, sudden changes, electronics. It's Uranian energy, so there's a lot of like sudden disruptions. 17, of course, is 8 energy. In numerology, we're dealing with things on the faded scale of life, okay? 8 is infinity, okay? So something that could feel faded, something that could feel larger than life for you. And then you're starting out here with this gorgeous, independent, maybe, you know, lush, full life. And then this gorgeous, you know, again, what's on the surface is you seem to have everything you need. So that was the world's longest snapshot of what's going on. Let's look at these individually. The 9 of Cups, as I was just pointing out, really gorgeous, independent, emotional wealth, right? This is you really feeling on top of your game. You feel like everything is being supplied to you. It's being given to you. You've probably more than likely have supplied this for yourself. You've gotten yourself to this emotional position. It's also, what's another term for, it's like, it's an overindulgence as well. So there could be a little bit of an overindulgence because you're so happy, and it's not even something to be frowned upon. It's just like maybe you're celebrating a lot. Maybe there's something to celebrate here. Maybe you've received something that you were looking for a long time, or you have finally tapped into something that you've been working on for a long time, and it's given you a lot of self-respect and you know, emotional wellness. But there is an element of overindulgence here as well. Just make sure you're sharing this with others, this, you know, well-being. And, you know, it becomes, because it falls after the 8, as all 9s do, the 8 really talks about walking away emotionally from something that wasn't working for you. And it's gotten you to this place. So this is, you know, you should really celebrate this stage or this phase because you were able to walk away from something difficult emotionally that wasn't working for you anymore, because you know something better awaits you, or you knew something more positive awaited you. So it's a beautiful place for you to be in right now emotionally for the month of June. It is sitting on top of the hidden realm, which is the 2 of Swords. The 2 of Swords is really just talking about, you know, do I do this or do I do this? I can't seem to make a decision. And your 2s are always talking about like weighing things out. 6s are the balance, right? This is where we learn to balance. Are we balanced or not? The 2 is really like, you're just weighing things out, but because it's a sword energy, it's within yourself. So emotionally, you're doing really well. You're at the top of your game. You're right up at 9. Here with the 2, you're almost like, okay, but like, you know, mentally or intellectually, like, which way do I go here? So, and like I always say with any of the sword energy, really, like, don't torture yourself over this. You know, let it be. Think about it, obviously, you know, but be reasonable. Like, don't spend a lot of time in your head if you have to talk about it. Get it off your chest. Maybe say goodbye to something here. You know, once you've made your decision, I feel really confidently here for you, Virgo. I think once you feel confident and positive in this emotional wellness for yourself so much that you feel like you can celebrate, for example, you feel really good about yourself. Maybe it's the first time in a long time, so much so that you can share this emotional energy, this emotional wealth, this flirtatiousness with others. You know, and it's almost like, well, like, who do I share that with? Or, you know, which direction do I take that? And, you know, don't torture yourself over it, because I see very strongly here that something is coming to an end here, and it couldn't come soon enough. So, you know, just let this be a little bit, maybe let things work out the way they need to, or do a little bit of contemplation, but spend the majority of your time in this emotional wellness, okay? For the month of June, just because I see something coming to a head sort of by itself. Like, you can probably see here, you went from 2 right to a 10. So like things are intellectually or, you know, idealistically, or, you know, in thought process or belief system, however this is playing out in your mind, things are moving really quickly here. So you've gone from, I don't know, do I do this or that, to, oh, now I know, now I'm ready to put something to rest. I know what I want, right? I know what I need. I know what I deserve. I know what my plan of action is, how I want to think, you know, how I want to communicate, etc. So you've decided, you can decide here, and then suddenly you're like, oh, now I know what I don't want. So it's almost like a process of elimination, which could work for you as well this month, if that's the case. You know, again, don't drive yourself crazy. Maybe come up with some creative outputs or creative communication, maybe even pros and cons lists. I have found these to be incredibly helpful. No matter what is being considered, pros and cons lists are actually really helpful, especially if you feel stuck or you can't make a move. But something is being solved here. I just feel it's almost like giving up the ghost or walking away from something that has hurt you, not letting it hurt you anymore. And of course it falls under the star. This is where we're looking at that Aquarian energy, but this is also healing energy. It's something I'm learning about the Tarot. I hadn't considered that this was healing energy before, or something, you know, needs to be healed here because it does sit on top of the Ten of Swords. It's almost like, it's like, you know, it's like you're of two minds about this part of yourself right now, or this phase of your life. It's like things are maybe so good and so nice and smooth and celebratory even, that you're almost like, I don't know what to do about it, or is the other shoe going to drop? Like there's a little bit of a concern here. Two of Swords is also like, it's like there's a blindfold on her, and there's almost like an element of like not wanting to look at something in the mind, or not wanting to look at an idea or a thought or a belief or a system of beliefs or an ideology, whatever it is that, you know, the mind works around, even subconsciously, okay? So it's almost like you might be worried here that like it's going to steal somehow from this stability or sense of well-being here, but it doesn't have to. You can even, like, you can tap into it when you're ready. But I do think that the getting to it, or making that decision, or being willing to look at what those two things are for you, is going to be here what needs to be healed. Because on the surface, you do have the healing card, the card of Aquarius. As I mentioned, this is groups, this is sharing, this is healing, this is, it's brotherhood, okay? It's sisterhood. This is really, really high ideals. Like Aquarians as a zodiac rules the high mind. Like it's the last air sign in the zodiac. It's the completion of the mind, right? And what it has done and what it gives to us is that it understands that we're all in the same boat, and we're all kind of having, these are all human experiences, right? So we're really much more alike than we are different. So there's a great deal of compassion that can be discovered here as well. But again, I'm going to suggest that that this has to do specifically with you, right? We're dealing with a 17. We're dealing with, energetically, that's an 8. You know, this is infinity. This is something that you could have been struggling with for quite some time, or that consciously or subconsciously, we need to let go of this ghost. We need to let go of feeling defeated, feeling awful, feeling unloved, rejected. Ten of Swords is just, it's a completion, don't get me wrong. Like I said, this follows exactly after, so you're definitely going in the right direction. I don't think that you need to sit on anything. You don't need to worry about anything. I think this is all moving in the direction it needs to for you. But if you for whatever reason right now, can apply this to something that needs to be healed in order for you to move on from, that's occurring within the mind, I'm going to suggest that you do let it go this month, and that you can come to terms with that and let it go with love, right? We want closure around this difficult situation. Ten of Swords really talks about a betrayal as well. You could have felt betrayed. Again, it could be internal to you. We are dealing with swords. It could be something that maybe you feel you let yourself down about. But again, there's no need to torture yourself over this. This is something that can come to a close. It's something that is coming to a close. But it does fall into the star. So a healing around a betrayal, a healing around feeling dismissed, feeling as though, I think betrayal is the best way to put it, like taken advantage of. But a great deal of healing can occur around this for you. And this is something that I think that you can use to your advantage because, as I mentioned, we went from 2 right to 10, immediately to a court card in the suit. So this is happening really, really quickly for you. In the what is going on evidently for you is the Hangman. Here's where we're talking about perspective. And as I said, it sits right on top, the messenger of air. So something has to come to light. You need to say something. Someone else needs to say something to you. Cut through the garbage, cut through the crap. You don't want to be taken advantage of, right? You know your worth. You are doing the healing work. You're interested in healing. You're on top of it. This is your destiny. You're moving forward. You don't have time to move back. Closure is at hand, but a perspective is necessary, yours or someone else's. And, you know, it's sitting on top of the hidden, the unknown, which is, you know, something needs to be revealed here. And because we're in the court cards of the swords, I'm going to suggest that this has to do with a conversation with someone else, someone who's considered, you know, youthful, even if they're older than you. But a knight, right? Someone who's like on a mission, someone who has a message. And you can do it with heart, right? And like I said, don't let this person be heartless to you. You know, you create those boundaries. You have the Ace of Cups at the bottom of your deck. You can say, you can tell me the truth, but you got to do that kindly. Or, you know, we can talk about this honestly, but, you know, this can't be abrupt. You can't cut me off or take everything you need and then just abandon me, or, you know, say what you want and I don't get to tell you how I feel, that type of thing. Like, perspective means really seeing things from another angle. So this person needs to see things from your angle and vice versa. Here with the Ten of Pentacles, again, this is on the surface. This is really a gorgeous, happy home. So this is you having your friends, your family, your children, your finances, your physical home, very likely your physical health as well. You know, being on target. You're really successful here. Everything's tickety-boo here for you. And if it isn't by the end of June, things should really be shown to be evidently prosperous for you. A really good term for the Ten of Pentacles is prosperity. You have so much of this, you can share it. You have so much of this, you're willing to offer it. You have, you know what it feels like to feel stable, and now you can work from this stable direction. It's a really gorgeous card to have in the obvious column for you. And then below it is the Two of Wands. This is where we're looking at, you know, the world is in your hands. You can really move forward on an action that you've been wanting to take. Does it come after sharing perspective, getting to the root of something here, of, you know, especially if this has to do with mind games or miscommunication. And I will always say this, it doesn't have to be another person. This can be something going on, you know, within you. This is unique to you. No one even has to know, but it could be with someone else, right? But ultimately, perspective, communication. But it's almost like now you know like something's been revealed, and by the end of the month, now you know where you stand and you can make a move. So that's glorious. Also, I don't think there's 2 wands here as well, but one of the major components here is the lamp, right? This is featured in the Hermit card a lot. There's a lamp, there's a light that's available to you. So I think another term for the 2 of Wands might be to have some faith, you know, to go within, have some faith about the future. It's a little bit different than, I think that, you know, I think there's blind faith, which is scary and probably not wise. And then there's having faith in yourself, that you've gotten this far, you know what you're doing, you know what you want, you can weed out what doesn't work for you, you have a lot of heart, there's a lot of healing, a great deal of prosperity. So it's almost like, you know, if especially with that pros and cons list, if you find that helps, like if you go through the process of elimination, for example, finding out what you really don't want, it could very well lead you to what you do. And that lantern will show you the way, even if you don't know exactly what awaits or what the very next step is. You can have faith that you will know what the next step is, or that you will know what direction to go in, that type of thing. And it's your second 2 as well. You have the 2 of Swords and then the 2 of Fire. So it's almost like, you know, not being willing to look at something here, having a troubling time, you know, facing up to something. And then, you know, from that to, oh, no, I'm aware now, I get it. Something's been revealed or made known to me, or I've gotten a perspective. I understand how I'm sitting pretty here. And I can move forward. I don't have to be afraid. And if someone else is if you're waiting on someone else, for example, let's take those, you know, they're going to catch up. That's another way to read this as well. They're going to have to catch up. You don't have to hold yourself back for anybody else. They'll have to catch up with you. So here we have Badger. This is aggressiveness. This is the only concern around these energies here, as opposed to the Ace of Cups. So just remember a balanced emotion and intellect this month. Aggressive energy could be good for getting to the root of the matter. I would align it here with the Knight of Swords. It could be considered aggressive energy, absolutely. It doesn't mean it's bad, right? It doesn't mean it's not helpful. And it doesn't mean it's untrue. It just could be a little bit like, whoa, like chill out, or, you know, like take your time, or that wasn't, you know, can we talk about this? So it's almost like you can get out of a sticky situation with aggression, but you can also get yourself into one. So just be sure here about how aggression energy is being used. We do have 2 9s. 2 plus 9, of course, is 11. We're dealing with 11-11 energy. This is partnerships. And then, of course, the 2 times 9, which is 18. We're dealing with 9s upon 9s upon 9s. This is spiritual energy. So just be sure that someone isn't badgering, or also known as, you know, upsetting your spiritual energy here. You call the shots this month, okay, about how you communicate, especially with the 9 of Water. You're really sitting pretty here. You're really comfortable and confident with yourself. You know, don't make concessions for other people's wants and needs right now. I think they have to meet you in the middle, as opposed to you meeting them in the middle, for example. Here with exchanging gifts, I always read this as being in the present. That's what the present is. Present is a gift. So exchanging, being in the present, so not living in the past, not living in the future, being square here now, okay? And being okay with that, like not making excuses for that, but letting that guide you. Exchanging gifts. Yeah, just being there for each other, being what each other needs right now. And if this is going on within you, this is, you know, being your best friend right now and being fair to yourself. And we had 2 come out this deck. I didn't pull one here. I will quickly. Forgiveness and manifestation. I'm going to suggest that once, remember, healing, forgiveness. I think once that is attained, the manifestation will begin. The manifestation of the life you really want, bringing those dreams to fruition. having that communication, even if it's difficult or sudden, or a new perspective is gained there. It's almost like, you know, that's to your advantage. That's to your advantage to do that. But forgiveness work is necessary, especially if it has to do with this healing work around the Ten of Swords, something, a betrayal or having been left behind, or really having, another way to frame that is having disappointed yourself as well. Let yourself down. Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. Yeah, just trust your instincts right now. Don't give any more. Don't give any more than what is fair. And I think once you make those healthy boundaries really clear to someone else in the way that they communicate with you, the way they consider you, behave with you, respect you, and identify with you, I think that you'll learn a lot more about yourself and the other person at this time. I've run out of time, unfortunately. That is your reading for June. I hope that that was helpful. As always, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Until then, take excellent care, Virgo. Bye for now.